This is another edition of Smart Chat, and this is me, Smart Chat, on YouTube.com. And thank you for watching, liking, subscribing to this channel. If you haven't done so, what the hell are you waiting for? There's another channel, it's the Tom Brand 1, and I invite you to visit that page. Please, subscribe. Do it. Night of Champions starts, reviews, in no particular order, and I welcome obviously your thoughts in the comment section below. Please share this video with everyone and anyone on all things social media. Do it. Cosmic Wasteland. You have the Stardust, and you have the team of Ascension. They had a match, and I just really don't know, are they supposed to be like for the kids? I don't get what the pairing is. There is no connection, no rhyme or reason for the pairing of this group. Are they just pretty much a group that's put together for the kids? Villains versus heroes, and Neville. I don't know. I just don't get the pairing. They're SmackDown type of wrestlers, just a little bit better as far as the Ascension is, just a little bit better than your average indie wrestler. Some high spots in the match. Stardust did a good few moves, but it is what it is. They're a good, third type of match on the card, opening match, second one of these beginning matches. It is what it is. Next up, you had probably, I think, the match of the night, New Day versus the Dudley Boys. New Day, and they are, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I think the New Day is the best thing as far as wrestling right now. Absolutely hilarious. With the trombone, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. It's glad that these guys are finally, you're finally seeing what everyone was talking about as far as Big E Langston from 2 years ago. He's finally coming into his own. You finally see that personality. It's hilarious stuff. They took something that seemed so ridiculous. They made it something and they portrayed it that it's so ridiculous you can't help but laugh when you watch them. It comes to the point during that match where they were trash talking. It's absolutely comical. Absolutely comical. Trash talk the Dudley Boys, and the Dudley Boys don't say anything. Maybe because it's the Dudley Boys were putting over a New Day, but it was absolutely hysterical. It was hysterical. They are the best thing that's going on as far as WWE right now. How funny was it when the guy with the saxophone, what is his name, with the trumpet, I'm sorry, was trumpeting trumpeting, is that the word? The Rocky theme. Come on, it's gonna be to a point where these guys, because they're so good and everyone finds them so entertaining, that they're gonna have to become faces. That's usually what happens when someone gets over, they get popular, they're into it, they go from heel to being faces. If you remember from a couple of years back, when The Rock was heel, he had to say, don't repeat me, and they had to turn him face because everyone was liking what The Rock was doing. They were repeating after him. These three guys are gonna become faces. It almost seemed like the Dudley Boys were the heel in this matchup. And that's the theme of this pay-per-view. Who's the heel and who's the faces? Interesting as well to see speaking of heels and faces, when you had Seth Rollins versus John Cena. And it's good, by the way, that the Dudleys lost. That's what I thought they would do. They would put over New Day. Good. Talk about heels and faces. I never really understood this if you look at it. You had Seth Rollins, dressed in all white, who's supposed to be a heel, but is being thrown all these curveballs as far as matches, where he has to wrestle 2 straight matches back to back, but he's supposed to be a heel, but it's more like a face. People were cheering him because he was facing John Cena, but he's supposed to be a heel, and we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to cheer John Cena, but that didn't work out that way. Then you have the Authority, who is face because they're making matches where you have John Cena going for the title, but then they're a heel because then they screw John Cena and they screw people like Brock Lesnar at times. But then they're also aligned with Seth Rollins, who's supposed to be a heel, or is he a face? Does that make the Authority a heel or a face? You get what I'm saying? The lines are blurred. And John Cena wins, who will now treat that title as a heavyweight championship because he is John Cena. So you take the strap off of Seth Rollins, and with John Cena winning, that will open another match between Kevin Owens again, which I think will happen. But after Seth Rollins loses, you then have him facing Sting, and I'll be very honest with you, slight spattering, not much of a reaction for Sting, maybe because the crowd has been watching for 3 hours already. Not much of a reaction for Sting. I thought that he would win, then lose when Sheamus was to cash it in. That didn't happen. It seems like Sting now is injured. Who knows if he wrestled his last match. But I don't know about you. Once Seth Rollins won, Sheamus was coming down the ring. A collective, and then another collective. Oh boy, when Kane came in, and yet again he's going to make another run at the title after he chokeslammed Seth Rollins, because we know that Kane's 47 years old and he needs yet another push. Makes me wonder, why do so many of these guys get pushes? What is Triple H doing that we need to know about? Speaking of pushes, old guys, Kane back in. That leads me to something that made no sense whatsoever. Chris Jericho joining the Shield to verse the Wyatt family. Chris Jericho, again, speaking of little to no reaction, got a little of a reaction. Really, the crowd wasn't popping that much. A little of a reaction. And it makes no sense when you have 5'8" Jericho versus a 6'10" Strowman. Yeah, when I need someone to kick someone's ass that's that tall, if I were the Shield, I was going to hire Chris Jericho. Makes sense. Though it makes sense in the sense of, if we give WWE credit, it kind of tied in the fact where Chris Jericho was looking for revenge for Bray Wyatt, I guess. But the reaction was minimum. We already see Chris Jericho so many times, whether it be we listen to him on his podcast, we've seen him on Tough Enough, we see him on the WWE Network doing his podcasts as well. I mean, it just, people were talking about The Rock possibly being the mystery opponent, Batista, I heard. Who knows, maybe even Virgil, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Bruce the Barber Beefcake. The rumors were running rampant, and I think we were all a little bit disappointed when it was Chris Jericho. I thought it would be Corbin. Rumor is that he was backstage, but what I think WWE did here is they did a little FU, because it was leaked apparently by mistake. a week or two ago that Corbin will be the third guy. So a little FU to the fans and pulled him back, and they gave us Chris Jericho again. Speaking of FU, Charlotte Flair won the women's title. And, I told you about Charlotte Flair. Don't get me wrong, she's a great worker. But at the end of the day, I don't think that she's connecting with the fans. I don't think she has a connection. I don't think she's over. A woo simply does not get you over. And that woo, is it just because, I don't think it has anything to do with Charlotte Flair. I think it's just for the fact of woo has to do with Ric Flair. Just my opinion, but it's an FU in a sense to Charlotte Flair. Here, we'll give you the title after Nikki Bella just basically beat AJ Lee's streak, which was a FU to AJ Lee. We'll give you the title now because Nikki just wants to go on a little vacation, and don't worry, when she comes back, she'll get the title back. I just still don't see Charlotte Flair being completely over. But, the match was what it was. Charlotte Flair, the match was in slow-mo. Because every bit of offense that Nikki Bella does is grounded, and Charlotte Flair has to slow it down a bit. That's what it is. So she's your champion. Let's see if she could get over and make that connection with the fans. Throughout the whole time there, I thought that Paige would turn heel. Didn't happen. It kind of was odd. She was just there. I was expecting that heel turn. Speaking of odd, that backstage segment there where Ric Flair was hugging Charlotte Flair. Congratulations, yada yada yada. Having tears in his eyes. And Charlotte Flair looked like, stop touching me already. Next you had Kevin Owens becoming the Intercontinental title. It's a win that he needed. If he's saying that he's the shit, the elite, he needs a title to prove that. So we'll see where it goes. I see that it will be him against John Cena again. Seth Rollins versus Kane. Speaking of which, just going back. Yeah. Do you think, because I see this coming, now that Paige got the FU from the WWE with Nikki Bella, with this kind of feud, I don't see Kane winning the title. Do you possibly think Seth Rollins will hold on to that title to give a FU to Punk? I think it could happen. I think it's heading that way. I think Punk had a title reign of over 460 days, if I'm not mistaken. So, and pay-per-view. Just my thoughts on Night of Champions. And until next time, adios, over and out.